I think we are. I'll do a brief introduction. Okay, so hello there. Hello, everyone in the Startups of London community. This is our eighth, if I'm not mistaken, live consulting session. And today in this chat, we have Ludovica as the founder of Review My Food. It's a really interesting startup. It's her first startup, but definitely not the last. We were having a chat a moment ago. Julie, you know from our previous session, she had incredible insights that she shared, and she's again here today. And Narcis, we had a chance to meet with him, I think a week ago, or maybe 4 or 5 days ago. And he was introduced to me because of his expertise in food. But I think we really got on. I think he has some incredible set of experience, especially in the food sector as well. So I think there might be a connection there in which he might have an angle that you have not thought about, Ludovica, and I think it would be really interesting to have that chat as well. Just a bit about the Startups of London channel for the first-time viewers or people who are listening to this from a recording. What we do is we tell the stories and key moments, key people of the startups ecosystem, especially in London. And we are here for entrepreneurs and founders and as a way to help them. So this live stream consulting is our way of actually bringing people together and having these conversations that is actually useful to people in the long run. And that's it. Feel free to check out other channels, other content on our channel and our other channels as well, such as Instagram, Twitter, and keep in the loop. Okay, enjoy this session. Over to you, over to our consultants.
Thank you.
Super. Hi, Ludovica. Perhaps you could just start by just giving us a little bit of background on your company. I know we've had a brief, but for everyone listening, if you could give us a little bit of a brief and then dive into the actual issues that you'd like to tackle today.
Absolutely. So Review My Food starts as a food tech business, and the idea is to provide accurate allergens and nutritional information when eating out. We like to think about that as the future of eating out personalization, because what we want to do is to get into restaurant, get them up to speed with technology, analyze their recipes, and get all this information available for users with food allergies or food intolerances or specific lifestyle or health issue that they need to track through their diets. So we're starting in London, but obviously the idea is to get everywhere in Europe and then hopefully also in the world. So we are building this community of allergic people initially as our early adopters. And my question today for you is how to approach these B2B to C kind of business, because of course when you talk to restaurants, you propose the community we are building through our social media channels, but at the same time we want to keep up selling the idea to the community as well and engaging with them. So my question is about a possible way of reaching the communication while reaching both targets, restaurant and hospitalities, and users and charities in the allergy sector.
Okay, so let me just play that back to make sure I've understood. So, so you're specifically looking at how you could actually communicate with them to begin relationships with restaurants, but also allergy charities and also the allergen sufferers themselves as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Super. Okay. And just so that we don't kind of spend time telling you what you already know, what have you already done to build communications so far?
Mm-hmm. So we are focusing very much on the Instagram. So we approach the charities through Instagram mainly, and I have done phone contact. Wondering to approach actually the association UK, for example, to see. My connection is unstable. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You just went a bit fuzzy the last minute. Could you just repeat the last sentence?
So the idea is that we are evaluating right now is to contact associations like Hospitality UK for the hospitality sector, basically, and trying to reach restaurants through these channels because, of course, the situation for the hospitality sector is quite unique, and of course when you approach them through email and phone calls, it's easier to not hearing back from them. And yeah, so we're trying different channels. So we're trying to see how to get into the sector, even if not through the main door, basically. And yeah.
I wanted to ask you, hi, you said that you are at MVP stage.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what stage? Is it a build? Is it a half build? Is it at the beginning? Because this makes a huge impact on your marketing plan overall.
Yeah. So the MVP is completed. We have all the two platform, and the app is actually available on Google Play. So everything is up. We are planning the launching strategy because we want to have some restaurants on board, maybe already in the allergy friendly community, to build the offer for the users. And then we are at the same time and parallel trying to reach not allergy friendly restaurants. So the MVP is functioning. We are building also the database. So everything is ready basically to be used and sold.
And I assume you already have a marketing plan up and running and live and ongoing.
So, okay, marketing plan. I have a marketing structure. I don't know if it is exactly a functional plan in the sense that we are testing how to improve the communication, as I mentioned before, because we have two different channels to communicate towards, and they are sensitive in two different ways, because the allergy community and people with food intolerances, they're very sensible about, of course, being taken seriously because their condition is life-threatening. At the same time, we need to convince restaurants that we are making it easier for them to assess this community. So through marketing, we are trying to build trust among these two sectors. And to do that, we are organizing events with restaurants and influencers in the allergy community. Because we want them to interact. We want basically to establish these communication that otherwise wouldn't be possible. As mentioned, is a plan. I don't know if it is fully complete because I guess missing point is how to really make these events turning into a business advertisement for Reveal, and in that sense to retain new restaurants or the attention of other companies that are involved.
It springs into mind two things related to your communication platform. No, so you have to think of, as you said, twofold. One is the communication to B2B, and one is communication to consumers, to the end users. And when you talk about end users, forever online and e-commerce and digital marketing has been always a matter of build value content, which creates a lot of traffic, and then that traffic you can pre-sell it in order to ultimately monetize out of it. So that is the general formula on online marketing. Now, when you do the content, you have to first think, what do the end user, and you mentioned a lot of the people that have allergens, and I have a lot of people that have allergens, so I understand very well their concerns in the marketplace. What can they feel that it brings the biggest value out of your product as opposed to what's out there? So building content for users has to be based on you plugging the gap that is missing from the market. And I think that the biggest gap is the transparency on information on what is actually on your plate when you go out to it. And I think that is the biggest gap in the market still.
I absolutely agree. And as a nutritionist, I work it a lot with in the clinics with allergic people. And so it's very insightful to see that their struggle is to find reliable information as well. And when you speak with restaurants, the problem is actually mirrored back because for them, time concern and also sometimes knowledge is a huge burden. And I agree with you about creating content that provide this information. So we're actually working with a part of the community on Instagram for Review My Food to actually have a section in which we ask the most frequent question when you go to a restaurant with food allergies. We provide information on the ingredients, and we do that as Review My Food because actually our aim is to get all the ingredients analyzed by our software. So we those information are our for sure way through the market in a kind of way, alongside the objective to really change the way in which we are engaging with our nutrition when eating out, because you know, for allergic people is life-threatening, and this is a huge key point of pressure. But for many people is also really a better of alpha. And so this again is something that is missing in the market. We saw a lot of businesses that are focusing on booking tables and getting the customers in the restaurants, but they're not focusing on the experience of the user. They're not focusing on how the menu looks like, if it is actually something that can be improved. And from a technological perspective, I've always been very fascinated about this bridge that we can create with practical experience. So I think with Reveal, my aim is to make the machine to work for us in any aspect of the process, and therefore providing information, safety, reducing the cost, and also reassuring both sides, my restaurants and my community, that we're there for them.
For restaurants, in terms of communication, you can maybe focus the product as almost like an insurance to the restaurant, because by them having a clear transparency on their ingredient list in all the dishes and the food that they offer, they can cover in a way themselves when against risks, because there are a lot of risks associated with people that have allergens. So you maybe when you communicate to them, you focus on that aspect of risk risk aversion of your product, because by you showing to the end user exactly what is inside of the dish, in a way you already told them what is there and what is not there, so the risk becomes minimal. There is always cross-contamination in every kitchen, and this is something that is, from the industry, I can tell you that is almost impossible, and most of the big chains, you'll see that they have a big disclaimer to say that everything may contain almost everything, because it's almost impossible. But the risk is much lower in cross-contamination than if you actually had an ingredient inside of the dish that you are actually eating. So so it can help. And then you can also, in a way, sell your expertise to the restaurants from a technological point of view and nutritional, in order to improve their menus geared towards people with allergens. So again, the communicate, probably the best target for you as a start point is the independent ones, and the vegetarian, vegan, and free from worlds. Interestingly, I've been inside of that world for the past 8 years. So
interesting.
And then you
yeah.
like you do it in a tier 1 would be independence, free from, vegan, alternative, etc., etc. Tier 2 would be smaller chains, so you move into the what you call less than 50 outlets chains, which are a bit more flexible and also faster in implementing new technologies. And you leave the big boys for the last one. You have the your app and your product super trialed and error proofed, and so you dot the I's and cross the T's, and you're sure that everything is perfect for them, because you can't those ones, you can't chase them with a product that you're not 100% sure.
Yeah, and when it comes to getting through the door with those organizations, one way to kind of gently force their interaction with you is to say, we are planning to include your menu in our app. We need you to verify that we've got all the ingredients right for your so as soon as they go, hang on a minute, they're planning to include us on this app, and if it's wrong and it's to do with allergies, that could be a big problem. So we need to interact to make sure that they put the right data in the app. So kind of going and saying, we've selected you as one of the restaurants that we want to include on the app, but we want to make sure that we include the right data. Please supply the following. I'm not sure what your charging model is, but presumably getting the data, because it's so vital to you, is kind of free. They put their data in for free. But then maybe your charging model comes up later. I'm not sure what is your revenue model? Is it?
So we are planning to actually charge restaurants because yes, the information are vital, but are vital for them as well, especially because we do the analysis for them. We do the allergens and nutritional analysis of all the food, plus we add the tags for different lifestyle, or for example, thanks to the new government campaign, we want to add 1 of 5 a day to incentivize people to actually order healthier options. And I think so the idea is to charge restaurants a monthly fee for each recipe that they and analyze all the recipe that they have on the menu and keep them updated. And we offer then also the platform where to host those information. So we offer an interactive menu for them. So the idea is that because of the complexity, or anyway, the different service that we offer to them, our idea was to charge them. And alongside this, though, to keep the price, the burden on hospitality contained. My idea was to charge also a monthly fee to users and to justify that as they can have the best offer. And basically it's like an eat out kind of platform in which, because they pay a monthly fee, a subscription, they will have kudos, a discount, a voucher, and things like that. So this was my idea of the model. I tried, and then obviously I would like to know your point of view. I tried to go free for both of them and try to have a different revenue model. So for example, sharing information with other platforms and trying to engage, you know,
We've lost you slightly again.
Oh, sorry. Where did I go?
You said I tried. You said I tried a different revenue model, and then we just kind of lost you just after that.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So I tried to thought about a process to get them both free, but at the same time have an income to maintain the platform and you know, scale the idea. And my project was to use the data. I don't know, for example, the competition of the restaurants or the marketing as well of the restaurant. So if there is a new event, how to engage the restaurants, how to engage the users, and get therefore the income through these services. The only thing that at this moment in time I think is quite tricky is the number of restaurants and the number of users, because to actually scale these business model, you need to have a huge number of users.
Okay, but where's your launch niche though? So where are you launching it?
I'm launching in London, so we're focusing on the London market, and specifically I start targeting Shoreditch, so because obviously they are, as Narcis was saying, I'm targeting independent restaurants firstly, and also independent that are already either in the allergy friendly, so gluten-free, nut-free venues, or lifestyle specific, so vegetarian, vegan. And Shoreditch has quite a vibrant offer. So I'm going very niche at the beginning and trying to get seated in Shoreditch, and then from there being able to you know, expand in other parts of London as well.
So you have a geographical reach strategy in a way.
Yeah.
You go in concentric circles, inside to outside. My question to you, because it's an online product, and literally with COVID, everyone got used to be pretty much online. Why not targeting multiple little circles around the country? You know, like always focus on the dense population, dense restaurant base, so it's easier to create that momentum of volume. But you can start, as you start in London with Shoreditch, you can start in Manchester at the same time, and in Birmingham, and in Glasgow, Cardiff, Leeds.
Yeah.
You can have almost like a multiple small circle approach, and then circle will grow exponentially at their own pace, no?
So absolutely. I thought about targeting cities with universities, because the idea is that there are many more internationals users and restaurants at the same time. So I actually thought about scaling that. So decentralizing my tactics, and we are actually trying to do that through a campaign. So it's like suggest, report, or reveal your favorite restaurant, and then we're going to contact them. So in a kind of way we try, since the aim is to build the community, the aim is to get to the community, so they are going to be the ones suggesting us what they want. So it is on the roadmap because of the situation. So because of COVID and being very online, it's quite it's difficult to get to reach the restaurants if you don't knock at their doors. And so I decided to go back to square one in a kind of way and knock at the doors of restaurant in Shoreditch, because for me the idea was like, if I get them on board, then if I do a call and they check the app, they know we have already some people trusting us, and so that was my only not concern, but what I found challenging.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, yeah, getting through their doors is difficult, and I'll come on to them in a sec. In terms of your B2C, in terms of capturing your community, to state the obvious, you've got to find them where they hang out already. So there are absolutely tons of Facebook groups around allergies, food allergies, that you can join and post into to direct people to the app, or you can quite often, where they're the really big groups, you can pay to get a sponsored post inside recommending that people, use your app to make sure it gets the kind of visibility that you want. So and also I talked about this for the previous one. The power of targeted Facebook advertising is immense. So lots of people will have allergies in their Facebook likes and dislikes and things that you can target people, right down to people that live in Shoreditch who have allergies, that you can ping the app up right in their face on Facebook. And likewise, it can be a good way to reach the restaurant owners as well, because you can profile business owners of food businesses who are in the position of CEO or founder or managing director, that you can actually run some split tests and Facebook ads that make them aware of you before you try and get in contact with them. So then when you then email them or phone them, they're like, I've seen that already on, or they might just come to you and go, well, we'd love to be involved in this because we're a restaurant in Shoreditch, this would be great. So taking that kind of approach can really pay some dividends. Also on B2B, I know you're going through Hospitality UK, which is eminently sensible. What about the local chambers of commerce as well? Because lots of, especially independent businesses, will often belong to their local chambers of commerce, so that can be a great access route through there. And particularly, if you can start to be able to say you've got 500, 1,000, 2,000 people in your community, then I'm sure chambers of commerce will be quite happy to help you reach out to restaurant owners to say, we've got someone here who might be able to drive some traffic to your restaurant, which at the moment is gold dust. So so I think chambers of commerce could be a good shout as well.
Absolutely.
On that front. And then kind of zigzagging back to the B2C side, I think you've got you've got to look at your strategy for capturing B2C on two fronts, because you've got the people who are already in an allergy group, they're already subscribe to allergy websites or that kind of thing, so they're already kind of in that community, so you know how to access them because you've got to go through those established locations. But you've also got to get the kind of the newbies, or the people who are just figuring out that some of this stuff might be out there, and make sure that you're top of search engines. So your SEO's got to come into play, because you've got to be able to do the capture side as well as that deliberate side. And and it means that, you know, they can't just go, oh, they're on Instagram. You need to be able to use that that rule that that Amazon popularized, the 7-11-4 rule, where you've got kind of 7 hours of content, a sort of 11 touch points across 4 different platforms. So if someone goes, oh, you know, how to check food allergens in restaurants, you pop up going, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, you know, we're on Twitter, we're on Snapchat, whatever those right platforms are, and people can really find and learn about you in depth and learn to trust you before they go ahead and download the app, because particularly for your product, trust is such a massive issue, that, you know, making sure that you've got the content that Narcis was talking about, but with that spread of coverage, so that people can really immerse themselves in what you're about, to build trust, that then they'll say, okay, I'm happy to download this now. Will kind of add to the power of your ability to capture those casual browsers, as well, I think.
Yeah, it's brings me back to content. YouTube channel, you know, it's a very old online marketing tool, but it's sometimes overlooked by Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the new kids on the block in social media. Funnily enough, I have another startup that is building now a lot of content for pre-launching, and you know that YouTube doesn't even bother to push you up on traffic unless you have at least 500 videos posted. In order for so it's all about volume. So if you could actually spend making a 3-minute video every day, it will still take you an year and a half to start being not even the top one, but at least relevant according to YouTube traffic.
Standards,
So that tells you how much you have to spend on time and effort to build that content in order to become relevant for the users. And also videos are very important for people not just with allergies, because those will come very quick to you. That's actually a very small percentage of the consumer base, people with allergies. You'll be amazed how many more are the ones that don't have any allergies, but they decide out of life choices to go vegetarian or vegan or free from. So your market is much bigger than the ones with allergens. The ones with allergens are normally the ones that are struggling to find someone that they can trust. And they once they get it, they are very, very they stick to you forever, because they know that's the only thing they can get that they can trust, because it's their life on the line. Is different. The ones that are as a life choice, they are the bees that are flying from place to place. So in order to attract them, you really need to focus on your content, and that content, look, you are a nutritionist, so thinking also in terms of new ways of monetizing, recipe books, or videos teaching people how to cook with non-allergen menus. That is a gold mine in terms of knowledge, and sharing that to your followers builds more followers, and that's the ball that is the snowball that we talk in digital marketing, that eventually restaurants will come to you and want to be and pay you to be on the platform because of the amount of users you have.
I agree. I really appreciate all the suggestions, because they really open my view on how to reach these 2 different channels. For what concerns creating YouTube video, I actually thought about that, especially for like a small video in which you give suggestion instead of doing posts. I wasn't sure, and I'm actually very reassured about what you are saying, because creating recipes is a bit off topic, because of course, we are reaching restaurants, so we expect them to create recipes. for our community. And our idea was more like going for the technological aspect of our startup of Reveal. And so targeting the idea of we give you option, we give you safety, we give you information, and therefore target the video more on these aspects than not on creating recipes. But maybe, what do you think about shaping the or taking on board the idea of creating recipe, but instead of being Reveal made, being as made by restaurants, independent restaurants? So in that way, we use our YouTube channel to introduce and market the restaurants. And so we don't go too far.
That's
away.
really strong. That's really strong, because it makes your restaurants more engaged, and it builds trust for your community as well, that they've seen the chef, they've met the chef,
right?
Before they go. So that's really powerful.
I agree, but I would stamp it as vetted by Reveal My Food. So you put your nutritionist hat and your technological hat and say, this recipe has been created by this chef at this restaurant, but is vetted by us, so it's safe for allergies and for people that can't eat X, Y. You become trusted for your users, and you are an extra layer of control in a way.
We can actually at that point showcase our analysis. So in the video we can add the outlook that we have on the app. So we show them how easy it is to get the information. Thank you very much. This is so insightful, because the idea is that at that point we can show them why, when we say that all ingredients are on our platform and no ingredient is left behind, we can gap that bridge of that space of there are no available and accurate information, and instead you can find them. And what we are creating on YouTube is actually what you can find on the app.
Going back to the ingredients database, no?
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought contacting BRC as a body, because they have a full database of all food ingredients that are used in the UK market? So maybe you could end up linking it to theirs and using it for future automation. Instead of creating it all from scratch, you can maybe just take it and use it. It's just a thought.
My idea is to actually use the database as a revenue stream, because all the database that I saw, the analysis of the ingredients is, or the allergens in the ingredients, or adding the tags for helping to add some content to these products is not very expanded. There are no huge database out there in the market with this nutritional insight. So my idea was to actually build the database to then sell the database, or create a fee subscription with a free API, and do basically what you were proposing. But for sure, since I think it's worth checking with them and see where they are, especially because it can be a good step forward and speed up the whole process of accuracy, and also opening a partnership with them. Because I think, as you mentioned before in other Startups of London videos, the idea is that when you deal with big businesses, having a communication with them, a contact with them, it can be very useful to establish future connection, future trajectories. So I will definitely take these on board and check with them.
Yeah, just flipping back to your videos as well that you're thinking about. as well as recipes, what would also, I think, be really powerful for allergy sufferers, at least, is tours of the kitchens of the restaurants, like the chef showing you around. This is this is our allergy zone where we only prepare nut free. This is, you know, that kind of giving people that this is how seriously we take allergies in this restaurant. That kind of thing could also, again, and particularly then if they click on a restaurant in your app and then it pops up with these are the videos that you can see from this restaurant, and you can see the recipes and you can see inside the kitchen and how they run stuff before you go, then it will just add to that level of comfort. But I mean, you know, the good thing with having such a really nice niche area to start with, like Shoreditch, is there's nothing to stop you walking through the door. You know, don't feel that you have to stick to online or email, especially where it's independents, where, you know, they're going to be owner managed most likely. You know, you go back to the old-fashioned traveling salesman approach of turn up and walk in and tell them about what you're doing, because you've only got a small area to cover. Once you've built traction in Shoreditch, you can start to leverage more online methods of connecting with other restaurants and being able to say we've already got, you know, 200 restaurants on board and that kind of thing. But you know, just use your own feet to get out there and make those connections, because it's such a small area, you can do it.
And I think on this is also that you actually show up as a human being. And I think especially in a moment like the one that we are living, connecting on a face-to-face, in a face-to-face scenario, it's actually very reassuring because you care, you put the effort to get there. So and this is one of the reasons why Shoreditch is so appealing and quite handy. So definitely, I'm gonna definitely continue on the process of knocking at doors.
Lots of remarkable advice, good perspectives. I've enjoyed listening into your chat. And as always, I have made a summary of the key points that I think are relevant from both Julie's and Narcis's points. And I'd like to just summarize these 9 key learnings, key takeaways for this chat. I think this is also a good summary for you, Ludovica, and it's also a good summary for other people who are perhaps building similar products in the similar markets or even in other markets that have parallels with this. So without further ado, the first one is independent restaurants might be a good place to start and build a relationship in this, because they're easy to start a dialogue and build trust. Second one, focusing on micro niches to grow is actually really important, i.e. people with allergies in Shoreditch. That's something you've mentioned as well. Number 3, community before product. And this is something I have cheekily inserted into this list because I think it's incredibly valuable, and it is sometimes underappreciated how difficult and how important this is. And community before product means building trust, essentially. And there's another bullet point that's in detail. But for number 3, there was a suggestion by Julie as well. Perhaps start with joining in groups that are about food allergy and promoting there, such as Facebook groups and other ones. I'm sure there are WhatsApp groups out there in which we don't know what's the perhaps big ones. There are Slack groups out there, so you have to be in there, I think. Number 4 is using hyper-targeted ads to build awareness of brand and to reach out to people that are your customers. Number 5 is the 7-Eleven rule. And I think Julie mentioned this, and I think there's a hint here as well. There's a book I think we both read to Dan Priestley, I think, and it's and I think it is something that inspired me as well. I use as well 7 touch points or 11 hours. We have a video learning startup in another market, and we sell to B2Bs, large organizations, and we use LinkedIn as our primary channel, and it's something that worked for us. So as we advertise there, as we create content there, sometimes people see us for the second time, third time. they don't really act on and go into the sales cycle. But once they see us for the 6th or 7th time, or perhaps the 10th time, and they have any need that has to do with the product we're offering, we are the first person in the top of mind awareness, and that's been driving traffic for us as well. So get to top of mind awareness in your audience through content and build trust before they download that. Number 6 is the market for this was a point from Narcis. The market for people that want free from foods and a chance to choose among a large selection. That is actually a much bigger market that also includes people with people that are allergy sufferers. Number 7, this is I think the most important one, perhaps, building community and content, i.e. trust and attention. Like that is the bottleneck. The bottleneck is not the software product. Sometimes founders and people who are entrepreneurs going into this, and I've made this mistake myself as well, make the mistake of looking at a successful business, look at what is there, and then of course they see, because it's really easy, and on the forefront, the product itself, the application itself, and then they think, if I create the what, everything will come along. But there's actually a huge background business that is quite invisible. And that invisibility, I think, is really important, and that's about trust and attention building. Number 8, because of your nutrition building expertise, it can be interesting to give a stamp of approval to companies that you work with and help them with content creation. Number 9, and this is something I've taken to liberty to add. Really, I think it's worthwhile to do a deep dive and find a singular problem to focus. So, and this really hurts as an exercise for every entrepreneur. This is like the worst type of mental exercise, because you want to address all of those problems and you want your business to be as big as possible. So there's a psychological barrier to just picking a single person and single problem, and there's some fear that comes with it as well. But it's really important to pick a single problem. What is the main problem you're solving, and for whom? If you had to choose one, what would it be? And I'm mentioning this particularly because you mentioned perhaps we can sell the data, perhaps we can approach it from another direction. I think these are all possibilities, but it makes huge value adds to business to just focus on a single particular problem that you have validated by having conversations with the people. So these 9 were the takeaway summaries that I thought were important. Again, Julie, Narcis, thank you very much for joining in this session. I really enjoyed listening to you. Ludovica, hope this is useful to you and helps increases the odds of your business becoming a really successful, huge one. And perhaps one day we can look at the past and say, hey, we had a session with now this fantastic startup that's quite famous today. And it will be, that will be our bragging rights, hopefully.
I really hope so. And thank you so much for all this suggestion. It has been lovely and very insightful to talk with you. So thank you. I will definitely keep you posted on the next step and how we apply your knowledge to our scenario. So thank you so much.
Happy to be of help, and looking forward to keep in touch.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good day all. Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.